Hey, Reese here from Reese's Species. So unfortunately I have been sick for the past couple of days, so today's video is just going to be a voiced over recording of me pinning some of the spiders I've had that have passed away. Unfortunately, the M. speciosus, the Marauder speciosus peacock spider that I was supposed to get from Bug Frenzy, did pass away in transit. Thankfully, Bug Frenzy were really understanding and they did refund me. It's just a really unfortunate, so I've pinned him, and I also pinned my H. adansoni, the large adult female I had, as she also passed away. The H. adansoni I tried rehydrating with the water. Unfortunately went moldy, as you will see. But otherwise, let's get into it. So as you can see here, unfortunately that spider that I did try and rehydrate, it didn't quite go to plan. But unfortunately I did have two more spiders pass away in the meantime, so I will be pinning them today instead. So what I've got here is just some number 0 entomology pins. You can get them on eBay or anywhere like that. I've just got some old tweezers and just an older paintbrush that I used to use for mini painting. The spiders I have, I've tried to rehydrate in isopropyl alcohol, so this works really well if the spider has only died in the past few days. I also have some black card in case I need it, and of course just an old piece of styrofoam. So anything like styrofoam or packing foam works. I'm just pulling the spiders out so that they can dry off some of that isopropyl alcohol so it gases off relatively quickly. I just don't want them to be too wet while I'm working with them, because you don't want them to really be soft. You don't want them to be so soft that they start falling apart. So I'll start with the adult female H. adansoni, which unfortunately passed away not too long after that younger female passed away. I'm not too sure. I think she might have just been old, as I did catch her as an adult. So I'm just pinning her in just a standard position, just with her legs splayed out in a natural kind of way. Some people prefer to put the starting pin through between the abdomen and where the head is, so the cephalothorax. Personally, I prefer to take 2 pins and just kind of use them to essentially lock the area between the abdomen and the cephalothorax in place. I just find it holds a little better and there's less chance of damaging the specimen. I do end up using my entire bottle of entomology pins here, so you do end up using a lot, so I recommend buying a bottle of, I think they come in anywhere from 100 to 1,000. I think my bottle had by this point about 100 in it, so I do recommend having quite a few on hand. So as you can see, I'm just using the tweezers and the pins to just kind of position the legs in a way where I want them to be. So I use a fair amount of pins, but that's because as the specimen is drying, the legs will try and curl back in underneath. This is just because of the way spiders operate, so instead of having muscles in their legs, they use blood, and they kind of use it as like a hydraulic system to extend and retract their legs. For each leg, I tend to use 2 to 3, sometimes 4 pins to keep them in place. I only use about 2 per leg here, just because I don't feel will curl nearly as much. With the M. speciosus here, I do try and go with a more advanced position initially, but unfortunately I'm not sure how long he was expired for before I got him and put him in the iso alcohol. So he's a little drier than normally I would prefer. So he's a little stiffer, and unfortunately he did start to come apart, so I ended up putting him in a much more simple position in the end. Here is where you can see I start to realize that things just aren't quite working out for me for the pose I wanted to do him in, which was that classic like peacock spider display pose. So I just pull all the pins out and I reposition him and I start again just with that much more simple kind of display. As you can tell, I am not an expert at pinning, and so this is just my preferred method. So yeah, that's my preferred method for spider pinning. I hope you enjoyed watching, I hope it was informative. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Rhesus Species, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.